all comes down to this game against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Villa friends, family and legends, welcome back to Rogers Reports. I'm your host with the most, call me Rogers, and today we are going to be previewing that exact game. And it's a game that has so much riding on it. Aston Villa can finish anywhere in the Premier League from third, getting that Champions League place, all the way down to 7th, and being pushed back into the Conference League for a second time in 3 years. We're going to have to win. We're going to have to hope other results go our way. It is a absolutely humongous game, and it's been born from a season of trials and tribulation. The frustration of Onana injuries, John Duran leaving us halfway through the season, the frustration at games like the 0-0 draw against Manchester United earlier on in the season, the 2-1 loss against Manchester City, the 2-0 loss against Palace in the FA Cup semi-final. We've also had our highs where we've looked like one of the elite teams in Europe. 1-0 win over Bayern Munich, 3-2 win over PSG, the 4-1 demolition of Newcastle in the Premier League very, very recently. But ultimately, the trials and tribulations have led to this moment. Our goal difference isn't going to save us, so we're going to have to get points on the board and hope that points from elsewhere don't come back to bite us. But before we get into the video where we're going to be looking at the Premier League table, the results, the fixtures, what we have to do to get to Champions League for the second time in a row, please do leave a like, subscribe down below so you don't miss a thing on this channel, become an Aston Villa legend today. Now let's have a look at the table and the fixtures. Oh, there's just so much riding on this. It's going to be the most stressful Sunday in a very long time. And here it is, the Premier League table. We'll go from the bottom up as it is the final match day of the season. Going down are the 3 teams, I believe, that came up this year. Southampton, Ipswich and Leicester. That's been confirmed for a very long time. Tottenham Hotspurs down there just won, and that's going to be a big thing that we talk about today. They've just won in the Europa League final, confirming their Champions League place for next season. Manchester United lost that final. How is that going to impact this game? I really wanted United to win purely because I feel like then they would have just been out on the lash and really not cared about this game. Now there's a little bit more on this game, a little bit of pride redemption in their last game of the season at Old Trafford, but we'll see how that goes. Then West Ham, Wolves, Everton and Palace down, and Bournemouth rather as well, make up the bottom half of the table. Good season for Palace. They win in the FA Cup. They're going to be in the Europa League next year. A little bit higher than that, we have Fulham, who are one of the teams that we need to watch out for on this final day of the season. They're 10th, 4 points behind 8th. They can only get up to 9th. But 9th might be enough to get Europe this season, given everything else that's going on. I can't really figure out in my head because there's just so much going on with this season of who's going to get Europe and what Premier League places get what because of who's won what. So that's just one to look out for as well, because I think City gets something for winning, or someone gets, Newcastle gets something for winning the Carabao Cup, but then they're in the Champions League, so I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we need Fulham to get a result against Manchester City. Hopefully they can. Brentford and Brighton make up the other 2 slots there. In 7th, we have Nottingham Forest flying early in the season. I mean, really flying early in the season. And then just kind of fell off towards the end. You can see their form there, a loss, 2 draws, 2 wins. Now we're going to need them to pull something out of the bag as well. They play Chelsea. They're only 1 point behind Chelsea, so a chance for them to leapfrog Chelsea and Villa if we can't beat Manchester United. If Newcastle can't beat Everton, that we'll get onto a little bit later, then Nottingham Forest could still finish all the way up in, well, what's their goal difference? 13. So they'll probably realistically be able to finish 4th if they win against Chelsea. So that's going to be a huge game. Then you have Villa 66, Chelsea 66, Newcastle 66, Manchester City 68. The 2 top teams have already been confirmed to finish in their slots pretty much. So that's the thing. Villa can finish 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd. We could literally finish anywhere after this game. It's going to be one of the most mental final games of a season I've ever seen. We can literally finish, what if say Arsenal did lose, right? We can finish 2 points behind second if we win and everyone else loses. It's like, you know what I mean? So it's going to be huge. But also, like I say, the other end of that, we can finish 7th and get Europa Conference League again. So, but let's have a look at the fixtures for match week 38 with that in mind, and let's see what we need to happen, because it's huge. Here you have it. This is what it all comes down to. Now let's highlight a couple of games. Bournemouth-Leicester, couldn't care less, mate. Couldn't care less. We have Fulham versus Manchester City. It's at Craven Cottage. Now, Fulham might have done more for Aston Villa than Aston Villa have done for Aston Villa in the last 6 years. Please, Fulham, I'm begging you, can you do us this one more favour and beat Manchester City? Somehow, just Urk a 1-0. Emil Smith-Rowe 30-yard screamer in the 92nd minute. I'll take anything right now. Alex Iwobi hat-trick. I'm crying for something, but Manchester City look really, really good against Bournemouth. And when the going gets tough, Man City get going. And that's worrying. But one that we need to look out for, Manchester City versus Fulham. If Fulham can get a win there at home at Craven Cottage to send the London fans home very, very happy at the end of the season, then please, please do it. Ipswich versus West Ham, we have no stakes in that game. Liverpool Palace, no stakes in that game. Those two teams are literally not going to care less. That's going to be an exhibition match. There it is, United versus Villa. We're going to talk all about that in a little bit more detail very, very soon. The next one at St James's Park, Newcastle versus Everton. Everton, a very, very good team. Are they going to be able to get a result and beat Newcastle, or get a draw against Newcastle, which I think will still do us at St James's Park, last game of the season, with Champions League qualification on the line. St James's Park, fantastic atmosphere. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. Then the biggest game hands down for Villa is that one right there. Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea. Obviously the biggest game for Villa is the Villa game, right? We need to win our game. But Forest at home, at the City Ground in Nottingham, against Chelsea. If Forest win that game, or even just draw that game, 0-0, 1-1, 2-1, 5-1, I don't care, and we win, we have got Champions League football next season. That's the one. That's the biggie. That's the banker. That's the one that couldn't fail. We need that one to go our way. The rest of the fixtures, again, couldn't care less. Arsenal will absolutely trounce Southampton. Brighton will probably trounce Spurs about 5-0, because Spurs are not going to give a single damn about that game. And then Wolves-Brentford are no stakes. But there's 3 games that we need to keep our eyes on this weekend, Villa fans. Fulham City, United Villa, and all importantly, Forest Chelsea, because I think Forest could get a result in that game. But more importantly, United Villa, right? We've played them 59 times. They've beat us 40 times. We've only beat them 5 times. It's not a great head-to-head. Now, one of those 5 times was, I think that was Unai Emery's first game in charge, wasn't it? Villa Park in Birmingham, Villa 3-1, Luca Digne free kick. I remember that quite well. But since then, they've beaten us 1-0, 3-2, 2-1, and then we had the 0-0 draw at Villa Park early on in this season. Should have been 1-0. Jadon Philogene should have scored a goal right at the death in that game. But nonetheless, the recent form speaks more volumes. Their last 2 home games were a 1-0 loss to Wolves and a 2-0 loss to West Ham. Obviously, we're on a fantastic run of form. Even away from home, we're not doing too bad. Obviously, that 1-0 win against Bournemouth was very, very good. What we need to do is we need to remember that Manchester United come into this 1 place above 17th in the Premier League. Their form is awful. I think there's 4 losses and a draw in their last 5 games. So let's forget the fact that they're Manchester United. Let's forget our absolutely woeful record at Old Trafford. I genuinely can't remember the last time we won at Old Trafford. Let's forget all of that and play them for what they are. A subpar team with a manager whose tactics aren't particularly working in the Premier League. Players that are going to be so downtrodden that they are having probably the worst season in Manchester United's Premier League history. Well, it definitely is in Premier League history. And let's just go and trounce them. We're a team going for Champions League. But what 11 players would I pick, bearing in mind what I think Emery will do, to go and get that job done at Old Trafford? Well, bring up the interactive whiteboard. And here we have it, the team that I would send out to get the job done against Manchester United. And it's the same team as Spurs, bar one change. Now let me talk you through this team and why. There's a couple of things I might change, but then again, that's just me, and you'll see one of them's just me, and you'll know which one it is. You know it's coming, Kashi, sorry. But Emi Martinez in goal, obviously. I don't care that Robin Olsen's leaving. That has been confirmed. We don't give him a swan song when this much is on the line. Matty Cash at right back, that for me is the one that could be changed. Even to a Concert at right back and Dizazi at centre back, or even a Garcia at right back, because they're going to exploit that. They do that with their wing backs. They have the wing backs that can get forward. They've got the new lad, I can't remember his name, the new wing back. He gets forward, he's quick. They're going to try and get it down the wing. Garnacho has absolutely rinsed Villa before. They've got Ahmad down the wings as well. And we saw Kashi's position get exploited against Spurs. I would still give him the nod to start, but that's just one that could be up in the air. Ezri Konsa, of course, absolutely sensational against Spurs. He's really started to come back into his own after a little dip in form. And I've gone for Mings over Pau Torres. And the one reason I've gone for Mings over Pau Torres is Rasmus Højlund, not the best striker in the world, but I think all of his Premier League goals pretty much came against Villa. But he's a big lad. He's a physical lad. He puts himself about. It's the one thing that Pau Torres cannot deal with. And the other thing, corners, and what Manchester United do late on in games, sometimes they'll just chuck Harry Maguire up front, and Pau Torres ain't going to be able to deal with that. Tyrone Mings will be able to deal with it. Ian Maatsen on the left. Again, United don't have wing-backs, I think, that fit Ruben Almiron's system at the moment, and they don't get back probably as much as he wants. They can't do the up and down, especially on that left-hand side. He'll be attacking against Dalot maybe, at right wing-back. Doesn't have the legs for it. I work with a United fan who says Dalot doesn't have the legs for it. So get Maatsen on. He's quick, he's direct, get him forward and get him involved. Kamara and Onana in the middle, those are the non-negotiables for me in this game. Those two have been fantastic when they've played together in the last few games. Since Yuri Tielemans' injury, they've really stepped up to the plate and kept this Villa team together, the glue in midfield. I've gone for McGinn on the left and Rodgers on the right. Not what I would personally do, but what I think Unai Emery will do. If it was up to me, Rodgers would be on the left and someone else would come in on the right-hand side. Asensio in the middle. Against United, we should be able to get on the ball, and I think he should be dangerous. Against the likes of Casemiro, fantastic player, doesn't have the legs that he used to. Their midfield in general isn't that leggy at the moment. They could even be playing Christian Eriksen in there. So Asensio, for me, just to literally get in there, float in and around those pockets, pick up the ball and make things happen, and then Ollie Watkins up front because we have no other strikers. And there you have it. It's going to be... It's going to be the most nerve-wracking game as a Villa fan I think you can possibly imagine. It's going to be horrible, and it could end up being horrible. But ultimately, there's a good chance that another result might go our way in that Forest-Chelsea game. Everton are a weird club. They've got a great record at St James's Park. Fulham have done more for Villa than Villa. So everything's in our favour. But God, I'm going to lose. I'm going to go grey. I'm going to have grey hair by the end of this Sunday. But my God, imagine if it does result in Champions League football, that would be the best. But what do you guys think? Comment down below. My official prediction for this game, there is absolutely no reason that we should go and show any respect to Manchester United at Old Trafford. There's no reason they should beat us. We're a better team. We're a better managed team. Our tactics are better. We're more of a unit. We're more cohesive. We're not coming off of one of the biggest losses in our club's history in regards to what it meant for the club in this season. I'm going to go 2-0 to Aston Villa. The same result as Spurs, just in reverse. Morgan Rogers to get a goal to cap the season off and Ollie Watkins to get a goal as well. But what do you guys think? Comment below. As always, I'll see you guys on Monday for the season review. It will be in that sense. It's going to be a scary one to film. Up the Villa.